Today, we are announcing the Roosevelt Hotel, which served as both our asylum arrival center and the humanitarian emergency response and relief center for nearly 2 years, will be closing in the coming months.
A rare win for sanity in New York City. The infamous Roosevelt Hotel, Illegal Migrant Central, is set to kick out its last border-crashing guests in the coming months. The century-old hotel has held more than 170,000 migrants since it became a shelter in May 2023. Joe, we have to start with you on this, of course, but there's a lot of, news. I think the most disgusting, New York is getting its house in order, but you look out west to Los Angeles and you have law enforcement sources telling Fox that there are these activists who are revealing the identities of ICE officials, name, phone number, trying to basically get them killed because these activists don't want, they think illegals, the law should be broken and illegals should be here.
If you want to show everyone you're a coward, dox them. Reveal their home address, reveal where their family lives, because that's what this is. This is a threat against these officers' family. If you don't have the facts and wherewithal to convince the American public, to convince the legislature that your ideas on illegal immigration are great, that's fine. That's a democracy. You're allowed to try, and you failed. You don't dox people. But what we're seeing here in New York City, by the way, is the opposite. We are seeing some welcome signs. We are seeing cooperation with Mayor Adams, the NYPD, our Department of Corrections, and ICE. And that really is the cause of why New York is able to reduce some of these hotels. It starts at the border, right? Promises made, promises kept. President Trump, Tom Homan, et cetera, the whole team, they dropped the number of border crossings from, 2,000 a day to 200 a day. Those folks are not coming to New York anymore because the gravy train is no longer here. That's why Adams is in this position. I'm glad he's seen the light over the last 6, 7, 8 months on the migrant crisis. It's costing us $6 billion, $7 billion almost per year. That's money that could have went to cutting the grass in the park. It could have went to a new, basketball gym at some of the local high schools, right? So it's a welcome change, but it would not have happened but for the change at the top in the White House.
But you've got a city council, and you know this, but you've got a city council in New York that is not on board with anything Adams is doing, right? So there's things Adams can do in concert with Tom Homan. But my point is you have these deep-rooted local governing bodies, and Boston's a terrible example of this, right? Boston is basically the anti-Homan right now, okay? You know local politics. As a New Yorker, I'm like, how the heck is that ever going to change? Because if it doesn't, you can't get deep enough into the system to really go after the folks who know how to game the system.
Well, two things to that.
And that's what's happening here.
First of all, Eric Adams is restricted by state and city law. Right? He has to care for these people. Unfortunately, it's gone through the court system. It looks like Eric Adams has to care for people that show up on our doorstep. Whether he has to encourage them anymore, thankfully, he's not doing that. On the flip side, I think it was yesterday or Friday, the city council had a hearing on how we give more services to transgender migrants in our shelter system. That's the priority of the city council. It's not, hey, we tried this, it didn't work out, maybe let's change paths. It's actually, let's double down on this woke, illegal immigration programs, even though we could see the writing on the wall that the New York public, the American public is no longer on board with this. They're still doubling down.
Why? That's my question, because I thought the election would have opened up their eyes that we don't double down, you go with public opinion.
Because the elections that matter for New York City Council and state legislative seats in the city are all the Democratic primaries. And it becomes just a fight for the far left. That's all it is. Until New York adopts what most other cities actually have as nonpartisan elections, you're going to see the same type of people get elected to the same offices with the same agendas, so on until that changes.
Well, I always call it the power pyramid of adversity. The higher up you are, it's why the left wing embraces illegal immigrants over legal migrants, over naturalized citizens, over anyone residing here legally. And so on the power pyramid of adversity, legal migrants, and then you're above an illegal migrant if you're a trans illegal migrant. Again, at the top, It's just that was never dismantled. That is still kind of the cornerstone of the left-wing universe, and it will take a lot to get rid of it, and it will come back, and they will try to make that the centerpiece of our universe here in the United States. I want to move on to what's happening. You mentioned Boston.
Yeah.
But what Massachusetts has done, and I keep repeating this because it's just so absolutely grotesque, but what Bill Malugin has pointed out, Massachusetts is the only state that frequently releases illegal aliens who are charged with aggravated child rape, and they refuse to cooperate with ICE on detainer requests for them. That these individuals, these elected leaders in the state and in places like Boston, like the mayor, they will side with a child rapist who is in this country illegally over protecting children and families who are legal residents of their state and city. That's where we are. Until the people rise up and vote them out, it will never change.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easier case to make when someone's arrested for smoking a joint. Maybe they shouldn't be deported, right? But when you come to these individual cases where people are doing the most heinous and violent crimes, I noticed that you never actually see the Democrats come and speak on the record about why so-and-so needs to be let out, why so-and-so shouldn't be prosecuted. I think we should start holding them more accountable. If you said something stupid on the floor of the Massachusetts legislature about protecting this class of people, I would hope the local journalist would follow up with you, then so-and-so is released from prison that day, and ask them whether it was worth it, whether their kids are safer, whether the kids in that neighborhood are safer.
Real quick, just on the doom loop aspect of this, because what you're talking about in Massachusetts is similar to the problems that we have here. Adams is doing what he can, but at the end of the day, if we don't vote out this council, if we don't think about a new mayor, if we don't make serious changes, but anybody with half a brain and a pocketbook that was able to flew to greener pastures and went to a red state somewhere where they save money and they're treated better. So at the end of the day, the only people that are left here are the ones who keep voting for this.
I said it all the time. I lose more Republican voters as the Republican leader here. I lose more Republican voters to Ron DeSantis than any Republican candidates we have.
Yep.
Such a good point.
Thanks, Joan.